All right, now we're going to, this is the last part of our unit 5, or unit 8, and it's going to be over kites. So with our kite unit, we are actually not going to have an assignment. We are going to start our kite project, okay? So, but I do want you to know these informations for the properties because you will be asked these questions on our midterm that's coming up. All right, so a kite is a quadrilateral whose two pair of sides whose two pair of sides that are congruent are adjacent to each other. So what I mean is I highlighted in green the two adjacent sides, and those are congruent, whereas the ones highlighted in blue are going to be congruent to each other because they are adjacent to each other. The other properties that a kite has is it has exactly one pair of opposite angles that are congruent, and the pair of opposite angles are actually where the two non-congruent sides meet, okay? So these angles right here will be the congruent pair of angles. They belong to the sides that are not congruent to each other. All right. Diagonals are perpendicular. So when we create our diagonals, when they intersect, it creates a 90-degree angle. It creates 4 90-degree angles. And right there is an important information because we then have 4 right triangles. Okay. And then the small diagonal is bisected. So the small diagonal is bisected here, meaning it creates 2 congruent spots on the kite. So the longer diagonal is not going to be cut in half, but the smaller diagonal will. All right, so let's get into our examples. Example 1 says the measure of JKP is 25 degrees, and the measure of angle JHP is 57 degrees. So, and then it wants me to find HJP, which is this angle, and then it wants me to find KJP. So, how we go about solving this is noticing that we have triangles. And I just mentioned how these are all going to be right triangles. Okay, and they're right triangles because the diagonals bisect each other. So because of that, we are going to find HJP by knowing that this triangle, this pink triangle that I've highlighted, all the angles will add up and equal 180. So one of the angles is 57. The other angle is 90 degrees because diagonals are perpendicular to each other. Okay, so we're going to add those together. We should get 147 degrees. So if we want to find that part of H or angle J, we need to subtract both of those angles from the total, which is 180. So 180 minus 147 will be 33 degrees. So this part of the angle is 33 degrees. So then we're going to do the same thing for KJP. Okay, so it's going to be 25 plus 90, and you get 115. And then you'll take both of those angles that you have added together and subtract them from 180. And 180 minus 115 is 65 degrees. All right. All right, so last 2 examples. So this first example, we want to find the value of x. Well, if we're looking at this kite, and we know it's a kite because the adjacent sides are congruent to each other, I know that because the adjacent sides are congruent to each other, that 4x plus 3 will equal 15. So that's exactly how I'll set up the equation. So 4x plus 3 equals 15, and then I'll solve. So I'll subtract 3. I'm left with 4x equals 12. And then I'll divide by 4. X equals 3. So this kite over here, if we're looking at it, we want to find the measure of angle Z. All right, so if we're looking at angle Z, there's something we know about angle Z. And angle Z by the property of a kite is also congruent to angle X. So these are going to be congruent to each other. So a property that we know about the quadrilaterals is that all the quadrilaterals, all the angles will add up and equal to 360 degrees. So I know that angle W plus angle Y plus angle X plus angle Z will add up and equal 360. Okay, well, angle W is 41. Angle Y is 81. And then I know that because of the property that these are the pair of opposite sides that are, or opposite angles that are congruent, that X and Z will be the same value. So it's 2 times angle Z, whatever it is, okay? Because angle Z will be the same as angle X. So 41 plus 81, we get 122. We'll subtract 122. We're left with 2 times the angle Z. No. Will equal 130, 230, 238 degrees. And then last but not least, we'll divide by 2. So angle Z and angle X will both equal 119 degrees. All right. Bye.